It's here. Oh, it's quiet here. Hey, hi guys, I'm John. Yeah, I'll be sharing my study on. It's a qualitative study on people living with shoulder and traumatic disability. And yeah, I'm quite nervous. My Apple Watch says that my heart rate is at 123. So 1 minute ago it was 111. Okay, so I'm John. I'm at the Juchat branch. My latest obsession is running, so I'm currently training for the marathon. I have a Garmin run in 4 weeks' time. Uh, I hope to clock under 4 hours. Okay. You can. I'll just jump straight into the study, okay? So, just introducing the backgrounds. Okay, so ASI, age traumatic shoulder instability, is characterized by the asymptotic movement of the shoulder, of the glenohumeral joint, and what's important is that to know that they usually present as pain, subluxation, dislocations, and some more functional limitations. Okay, and then these symptoms, of course, affects how they live, how they work, how they change clothes, and how they participate in activities. Okay, so the current approach for atraumatic shoulder instability it's currently subpar. Okay, so and the latest systemic review showed that a majority of people, bulk of people actually failed current measures, and they do not know why. Okay, so this is a pathway for the British on how they manage ASI lah. It's very little words, but generally it's a lot of referrals to different places, to physio and to orthos and to physios again, and then in the end up with like some MDT sort of like way of like how to manage them. Next slide. Okay, so the aim of the study, right, is to explore why people with ASI is to explore how they live their lives. Okay, and so that I think knowing how to live their life can give us an idea about what's just give us a better understanding of like a different lens from the person. And then we hope that having the study can increase our understanding of the condition also. Okay, I'll just skim through the methodology. It's a qualitative study, explorative, and then we interview 8 people. This is the interview guide, but generally we just ask a lot about how they live, how they cope with every problem they have, what they do about it. It's like, okay, so majority of the interviews were conducted via Zoom, and they can modify if they want to lah. It's like, and then for data analysis, we conducted a thematic analysis. Okay, so these are the results. Okay, so after the entire analysis, right, I think that there were three major themes that came out. So I think that the first one is their journey to receiving diagnosis. The second one is their real-world experiences with seeking treatment. And then the third major theme is how they adapt and manage as they live with the condition. So the first theme, the journey to receiving diagnosis, later I'll explore a bit further. Okay, but currently just giving just a general run through of like the themes lah. So the journey to receiving diagnosis, I think initially there was a lot of confusion, unsure of like what's happening. So a lot of people, for these people, they generally experience like pain or subluxation their whole lives, right? So they are unsure that they do not know what they're reporting. Or a lot of times they report pain, and generally pain in the shoulders people associate it with like rotator cuff injuries. Yeah, but the thing is, if you don't diagnose it correctly, you can't treat it. Yeah, and a lot of things only make sense on hindsight after they get their diagnosis. Yeah, so eventually when they get the diagnosis, they get the full picture like, oh, this is why I have this is why I cannot do this. But these things only make sense on hindsight. And then the second one is the second master theme is the real-world experience with seeking treatment. So I think a lot of people they shared about several like negative experiences with seeking treatment, And then, such as like people don't understand them, or people say that they're lying, or that their pain is not real. And then the second one is how they hope that we also consider their current morbidities, like they usually have some form of like hypermobility disorder. And the third one is how they feel that they have better outcomes when the treatment is more specific. And then the last master theme is, and also the main one is how they adapt and manage their condition. So I think a lot of times for these people, they learn to adapt to live within the limits of the shoulder. So understanding like what their shoulders can or cannot do. And number two is knowing how to manage their flare-ups when it happens. So like when they sublux the shoulder, or when they do a wrong action, or they wear a shirt wrongly and then the shoulder comes out, how they self-manage the pain that comes along with it. Okay, next. So the implications for this research, please. Yeah, I think so. All of us know that all clinicians know that if you can't diagnose, you can't treat. So diagnosis is important. So I think for these people, again, they report a lot of pain in the shoulders, majority pain, and even though if they have like subluxation, they can't tell you. Majority of times they can't tell you that what they are feeling is subluxation. So if you don't do an aspiration test, you can't diagnose it, right? And most of the time also in like radiology findings, if it's atraumatic, it may or may not show up with like tears or like bangkat or slap tear. So I think the need for assessment so that the proper treatment can be done. And also less paternalistic care, so like a lot less top down and a lot more involvement on the patient part, a lot more asking them what they need from us, what actions they do causing the symptoms, and how can we help them. And then I think the third one is the important one also, like knowing that ASI is a chronic condition which requires long-term management. I think currently the research current treatment is very driven into like wanting zero pain, zero subluxations, zero dislocations. But I think from this study, it seems like it is showing that there's a chronic nature to this condition, and we need to manage as chronic, something along like low back pain or knee OA, where like the patient needs to like adopt some strategies to better help them. And last one is that, yeah, again, current outcome measures such as the Woolley score or the OSIS, they really test a lot on like disabilities, but you do not see that the level of disability do not affect the level of outcomes. Like just like how KOOS and for knee wise, how KOOS and knee OA is not the same. How KOOS and like QL is not the same. Yeah, so we need better outcome measures to be able to detect how these people are living. But the thing is, currently in the literature, they only test for these major two ones. Okay, next. Okay, so these are some quotes to better show that it's very wordy. So the first portion, they shared a lot about like how like, yeah, on hindsight that could be a sign, or when they were, because they usually experience these symptoms when they were young, but when they were younger they cannot share, they cannot vocalize what they are saying. Yeah, so they would not have received the treatment if they only say such things. And also like they were, for the longest time they were unsure, or they don't know what's happening. But eventually after receiving that diagnosis, they finally realize that, oh, this is what's happening, and because they know what's happening, they are able to prioritize the care that's important to them. And then the second one is the variable experiences. So there's a lot of like, oh, they don't understand, they think it's fake, or like physios who like hurt them during the treatment, or again they think it's not real, or like they are seen by people who are not specialists, so they didn't get like long-term outcomes. And also a lot of people feel that once like you incorporate their comorbidities, like because people they are usually hypermobile, so if you incorporate like the treatment of like EDS or like some form of like hypermobility disorders, they generally get better outcomes. Okay, and then also to make sure that the treatments are specific, not just, again, a lot of people they have pain, but so some physios may just target the pain, but again, not just making sure that they are stronger or making sure that like checking with them like what sort of movement they can or cannot do, and then specifically going to that movement itself. Yeah. So some of them, some physios who are more specialized or some clinicians who are more specialized, they can say they are able to they are able to ask the proper questions and then do the proper treatment. But some who are not, then the physios realize that because no one knows, I need to be more vocal. So when they're more vocal, then the physios will like do the proper checks and then they get the outcomes. And the last one again, I think is the major one that comes out. That there's a lot of like adapting to what their shoulders can do currently. So like not lifting heavy stuff because it's not safe, or they break down their task. So something like it's very Neo-A, it's giving low back pain, like making sure that they do within the limits of the shoulder. Yeah, and then knowing that like if a certain angle that they carry a cup will dislocate the shoulder, they will try to not do it that way. And a lot of times in the literature, again, we aim for them to like have like zero pain, zero luxation, zero dislocations. But actually the reality is when we ask them, they're like, I'm okay with this. In fact, it's quite cool that I can do this. So they're actually okay with it. But when we talk in the literature, they're like, these people are disabled because they have these symptoms. So they're comparing them to a normal person. But if we talk to them, they are actually okay with it, and they generally accept that this is how they are working. Yeah, so I think we need to see these people in the different lens, and also hence the outcome measures that we use to also try to adapt to these people, that these people are okay with it, and that they're generally accepting to this limit of the shoulder. And then the second one is knowing how to manage the shoulder when it flares up. Similar to how like when they have a Neo-A, when they walk longer than expected and their knee pain flares up, like knowing what to do after that. So again, these people when they suddenly like subluxate the shoulder or dislocate the shoulder, they sort of have their tricks. So I think it's knowing what tricks or maybe like teaching the people how to come out with those tricks themselves that works for them. Yeah, so most of them they go like do exercises or they take meds or in fact like even like having like shirt or bra that can fit better during days. Yeah, but however, when the flare-up is not well managed, meaning like they are unable to manage their symptoms of pain, they start to go into like very stressed, like there's a lot of things I cannot do, and like they can't help they can't contribute to the household, or they can't basically they get very depressed when they cannot manage the flare-up or they cannot manage the symptom. Next slide. Yeah, so I think generally I think what came out is to treat the shoulder. ASI is to treat how to manage the flare-up. So I think a lot of people know like a lot of people once they come out with the treat themselves, they feel that they are more in control. And usually this is not in correlation with like the level of disabilities. And they feel like so like the last one, I would say the symptoms have stayed the same, but they have more skills and they have more accessibility to things that help. Yeah, so I think just general end of the study. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Any questions? Wait. Any questions? Yes. No. Don't drop the mic before the questions. But no questions. The mic. You can drop the mic. It's all right. Let's give him another big round of applause.